Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Living on Lemonade podcast. I'm your host, Lauren. I'm excited to be recording this ahead of time. It is Sunday, so it's due tomorrow, but at least I'm not recording on Monday, right? If you can tell a little bit by my voice, I'm recovering from a cold that came in kind of quick and heavy earlier this week. I am also really happy that it is leaving as quickly as it seemed to come in. So I had the luxury of having days off and not much on the go, which allowed me to sleep in and really rest and give my body what it needed. I've learned through the years that it's super important to just surrender as much as we can. Obviously, there's lots of obligations that we have, especially if we have a family and stuff. I, however, do not have children, so I was able to sleep in and really give my body what it needed. Along with that, just like, I don't know, I'm just kind of jabbering, I guess. I've been working on purging just slowly. I started in the fall. I have my list. And while I've been home, sleeping a lot, drinking fluids, just resting, I have had some energy to just kind of sit quietly in my craft room, which is where I record, and just kind of pick away at a couple things here and there. Yesterday, I cleaned out a drawer on my desk. I had one more drawer to do, and then behind me there's a closet, and I have, excuse me, a 5 shelf organizing unit that has all kinds of cords and old cameras and glasses and all kinds of stuff. So last night I was I was feeling better. I thought today was going to be like full blown cold just by the way it was going. I had a lot of nose blowing yesterday and just feeling kind of crummy and a bit of postnasal drip. And I thought for sure, because yesterday it moved from my chest to my head. And I thought today for sure my head would be like totally full and it'd be like the gross part of the cold, if you know what I mean. But it never really happened. My nose is clear again. My throat's a little raspy, but I'm just kind of working through it. And I felt pretty good today. My husband had his brother over yesterday to brew in the basement. He set up a brewery in I guess it'd be the furnace room. So they were doing that. So I would kind of peek in and socialize a little bit, but I wanted to let them have their brother time. And I felt motivated to kind of do some more sorting and just looking through some stuff. So I pulled all the drawers out and just kind of dumped them one at a time, went through things. I've got some things to get rid of that I no longer need, and put it back this morning. I finished up. I have a few kind of straggler things to find new homes for or put it in the pile to donate, but all in all, the vibe in here is a lot better. I had like little crystals all over the desk and I put them in a big mason jar until I until I figure out exactly what I want to do. But I just wanted to reduce the clutter on my desk. So the desk is pretty much cleaned off. There's a couple piles I need to go through still. And when we were at IKEA last, I picked up some lights, like the string lights, and I thought they were going to be a lot longer than they were, but that's okay. I strung them last night too, and I have them on. It's just like really nice. And I'm gonna get some, I have some from that we used at our wedding that I'm going to pull out and see if I can kind of rig them up too to have a few more strung lights. I kind of had a vision for this room to just make it a little more cozy and vibey. And I thought lights will be kind of like fairy twinkle lights would be the what I'm envisioning. So if I don't get to it today, I will one day soon. What I wanted to talk a little bit about today, I didn't have anything really in mind. Again, a lot of these episodes are just me kind of riffing, so I hope that there's little gems in it for the listeners and it's not totally just me jabbering on. But I had a moment today that I thought was very interesting. And for me, it just ties into when we start doing this work, when we start kind of unraveling and getting curious about our conditioning and the things that we do and why we do them, and even coping mechanisms, when we start to create awareness around them in a loving way without judgment, we pick up on our own habits and we can kind of, I don't want to say like call ourselves out on it, I guess in a sense, but really have that stronger sense of awareness around it. And then we can intercept. We can like intercept ourselves from our kind of unconscious or subconscious habits and things. Now, what that looked like for me today was yesterday. I was thinking how nice it would be to go down to my mom's and see my grandma. I was at my mom's when I came, was it Wednesday? And I ended up going for a drive with her. She had to go to our hometown for a dentist appointment. I wasn't feeling great, but my cold hadn't like fully set in. I still had kind of a sore throat and was just going through the motions a bit. And anywho, I was originally just gonna hang out with the cat that day. We were hoping to take her onesie off, which we ended up doing. Darla's onesie's off. She's doing okay. She was really kind of obsessively grooming as she does anyway, but we were a little bit worried that she was gonna groom the incision too much. But my mom's been scolding her, yelling across the room when she does it, so she diverts and looks somewhere else. So I think she's finally got the hint and she's leaving it alone because we wanted to wait the full 14 days to make sure she wasn't going to cause any problems, but it kind of seemed like she might be going down the road. So I thought I would hang out with her, take the onesie off, but I ended up feeling up for the drive. So I went with my mom and she always appreciates the company. Made a Costco trip on the way home, had a cheap dinner at Costco. And and then I ended up just sleeping over and leaving the next morning because I had a bunch of housework and stuff to do for the weekend for Eric's brother coming over, and we were at the boat show on the Friday. So because I didn't see my grandma, now this is kind of leading into what I'm going to talk about. My grandma lives just around the corner from my mom. My mom moved to the town where my grandma is in the nursing home to be close to her and be able to take her to appointments and just have the proximity to her. And I really make a very conscious effort on days off. I try every time I have days off to go down and see her, whether I spend a couple hours playing some Scrabble before dinner, whether we take her out of the home and, go for a drive or whatever. This time, for when I was exhausted, I was fighting something. I wasn't sure if it was going to go full blown or if I was able to kind of fend it off. But I also I didn't know where it was going. I was feeling kind of punky and I definitely did not want to get her sick. So I said, well, I'm not going to go see her this time. I'm just going to get home, like head home and do my housework and just stuff around the house, lay low as much as I could for my days off so that I could recover, and it's paid off. But I always have that guilt, right? Because especially with how much loss I've had, it has really taught me the value of time with our loved ones, and with my grandma not being super happy in the home. It's cramps her style, right? She misses being on the farm and stuff. It's just a whole different life. Would try to mediate that a little bit, and I love spending time with her. She's my best friend. So I was feeling kind of guilty for not going, but I did know it was for the best, both for her and myself, because I don't want to get her sick. And I need to recover. So that I can go see her quicker, right? And because I didn't visit her on Thursday, I thought, well, maybe I can come back on Sunday and have a visit and maybe have her over to my mom's for dinner. We'll take her out. And I was thinking about that yesterday. It was a late night. We slept in, and I got to thinking, should I go? Do I just have a quick shower, get dressed and head out? Or I kind of was thinking about all the not like I have like a huge list of things to do, but things that I did want to accomplish on my days off that would feel good and um didn't feel stressful. Like it wasn't going to stress me out or feel like it should. It was things I wanted to kind of pick at on my own time. In the last couple days, I finished a book that I don't think I was too deep into, and I've read two other books. Not that they're hard reads at all. I'm going through my bookshelf and reading or rereading books that I've read in the past and donating them this time. I use the Goodreads app. I have a hard time getting rid of things sometimes. I have always had this kind of strange thing where I have like sentimental attachments to inanimate objects. I'm very aware of it and I find ways to kind of mitigate it. I'm way better than I was. Oh my gosh, like worlds better. However, I like to do little things because for me with the books, it's like, oh, what if I want to read them again? Then I don't have them anymore. And when I forget it was a good book, it's like, well, if I forget, then it probably wasn't maybe that great. But so what I'm doing to mitigate that, and sometimes we just have to find the little tools that kind of help us that still get the items out the door, but it's like I can still get it from the library. So what I'm doing is I'm using the Goodreads app to catalog essentially what I'm reading. So then I have a list and a history of what I've read in the books that I've donated. So if for whatever reason, I want to scroll back and be like, I really like that book. And then I can go sign it from the library and it's out of my house. So that's my thought process around that. Another thing I've done over the years, if I'm getting rid of things, is I'll take pictures of them. Chances are I probably won't look back on the pictures. And I think I've talked about this before, but just bringing it up again, but I have this picture of the thing and then I can get rid of the physical thing so it's not actually in the house anymore, but I have a picture in case for whatever reason I want the memory and it's there. So I was thinking about these things I've been wanting to do and it's been a really nourishing couple days. I've done a lot of reading in my chair in my room, especially with the lights strung up now. It's super nice. And just resting. I've had some naps over the last few days, slept in, gone to bed early, read in bed, giving myself what I need, surrendering because I have the privilege of doing it. I have days off and no major obligations, just allowing myself to do what I need to do. However, the guilt got to me. And so I got curious about it and I started thinking, I've noticed over the last few years that, and I think it's one of the tricks of the mind, and maybe you'll resonate with this, and maybe it'll be a light bulb moment like it was for me years ago. There are, I have used being busy and keeping myself busy and using taking care of others and just service to others, basically a lot of things outside of myself, as an avenue of avoiding, escaping, and running from the priorities and the things that I actually do need to bring my attention to. One of those things over the years has been being more mindful of just being home and not I spent days off always running about and by myself. And anyway, um it didn't do any just what's the word, it wasn't great on my relationship. So I've been very mindful of that now, and I try to like only go for one night, and during the week I stay home on weekends, and just having more communication around that stuff. I'm still working on it. It's not perfect by any means, but I have the awareness around it and I've gone through the curious process, and I have the desire to improve. So it's like little steps, and sometimes I'm slipping. So this was one of those times this morning when I felt this like urge, like I gotta get out of the house. It's like I'd been at home too long, even though we were gone on Friday, got home late, and I was really only home yesterday. It was really nice, by the way. Um, but I just felt this like almost like an anxiety, just this like I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta like get ready and go to my mom's and see my grandma and just get out of the house. And so I got curious. I catch myself when I get into that kind of mindset, and I think to myself, now I ask my question. So when you're starting to create awareness and stuff and really get curious and start to do the work, it's really just taking a mindful moment and questioning it a little bit and just getting curious. There's no judgment, but it's as if you were asking a friend, getting curious with a friend and asking them like, what are your real intentions here? And just letting them answer honestly with no judgment. So we have to treat ourselves the same way. So I caught myself in this feeling, and I was curious, like, what's the root of this? Do I really feel guilty because I haven't seen my grandma? Knowing that I take every opportunity and am very like consciously, I put a lot of effort and make her a priority because I want to, because I love her, because she's my best friend. Is there like a should in there? Do I feel like I need to go there just because I didn't see her the other day and she's gonna be wondering where I am? Meanwhile, knowing that I was not feeling well and stuff. Am I trying to avoid something was the other question. What am I trying to avoid here? It feels like I need to like get like I'm trying to like escape from home. What am I trying to avoid here? And I realized it's just this, what's the word I want to use? It's just this automatic thing, I think. I don't even really think about it. It's just an automatic response because I'm so used to doing it because I've done it so long that I don't even necessarily need to have a big reason. But yeah, I was trying to kind of skirt away from recording my podcast, working on getting these previous episodes. I have 10 on the YouTube channel, but my goal was to do 10 a week until I'm caught up because this is the 45th episode. And some journaling. I keep putting it in my planner every week to journal. Haven't done it yet this year, and I know I need to do it. So I started to see this pattern here of a few of the things that I keep adding to the next week, to the next week, to the next week, and looking earlier. I was hoping to get more done early in the week, but to be fair, that was my intention. But hey, I got sick, so I needed to take care of myself. There was no way I was doing other things. I already had a house to clean. I was like taking naps in between vacuuming and then doing bathrooms and whatnot. So it's like that was my priority at the time, and I just didn't have the capacity to be doing the extra things. But I had a whole 2 days to do stuff, and I was pretty productive yesterday while also resting. And today I feel even better. So it's like today is really the day to do the things. But my brain's like, nope, gotta escape. Like, what can we do? We can go down and see our grandma and my mom. And I had to kind of like shut it down and say, I mean, it was pouring rain at my mom, so wouldn't be nice weather to really travel in. It's almost 2 hours driving back and forth, about an hour 40, I guess, which is gas money. I'm also trying to sit, be conscious of what I'm spending and out gallivanting because I need to save for a car anyway, and putting more mileage just because doesn't really help the timeline with when I'll need to replace my car. So these were things I kind of had to get honest and a little bit critical. I don't mean that in a negative way, but I guess curious. I'll use the word curious. I had to get curious about to really dive into the deeper intentions of why I was feeling so pulled to get out of the house. And what was I escaping from? Because that's kind of been my MO for a long time. So now I'm starting to catch myself earlier in it and being like, oh, you're doing it again? Or is this like, is this genuine? And what I realized was, yeah, I was trying to get out of doing the things that I need to do, not just like a should, but the things that when we have those, I talk about it all the time, we have those like intuitive nudges and stuff, and then we need to act on them. This is a day of doing the actions. I do want to read. I have procrastinated a little bit, but I finished a book. I feel good about that. Ultimately, it's helping with my winter to-do list, which is read books. But it's like today was a perfect example of working against my brain that wants to keep me small and procrastinating and not working towards the bigger picture goals of the Living on Lemonade brand, getting those things, getting the episodes onto the YouTube channel, recording today's episode, other things that I want to do, personal development stuff that again fit the bigger picture, are taking the actions towards the intuitive nudges. Our brain likes to shut it down, right? And I've talked about that too. So this was like a very real life example I wanted to just talk about quickly. Hopefully I haven't taken too long on how that's played out. So you have like a tangible reference and you can see where that fits into your life too. And if you've had an aha moment about it, you can start to maybe pick up on it within yourself too. And it's okay if it's a little bit triggering. That's a good thing. When we get triggered, it's because there's some part of us that thinks it might be true about us too, and maybe we don't like that about ourselves, and that's okay. It just has to be one of those things we get curious about, and then ultimately we have the power to decide if this isn't something that I'm super proud of about myself, or it doesn't help me get where I need to go, then my actions need to change because what I'm currently doing now isn't getting me there. And running off to my mom's today to see my grandma and not getting any of these things done wouldn't be helping the bigger picture. So that's why I'm here recording this episode. This is why, after having just finished another book and crossed it off the checklist in the Goodreads app, I'm going to work on some episodes for the YouTube channel, and maybe I'll string some more lights in my craft room. Who knows? I also have a bin over on the side wall beside my reading chair that's full of Barbies. I have 3 more areas to kind of dump out, look through, get rid of some stuff. And then my first kind of big wave of going through everything that belongs to me in this house is done. I'm not fully done. There's still, as I get rid of things, complete projects make room in, cubbies and drawers and shelves, then I can start to shift things around. So it's going to be a work in progress, but the big action step will be completed. And this has gone on for a number of months. I think I started in September, October. Then I get to complete some projects. I have a window to sand down and refinish, Roman shades to complete, and then I'm going to tackle some quilts. So it's kind of one of those things where I love being crafty. So I kind of set the thing of like, we'll get the sorting and stuff done and tidied up so you just have a really nice atmosphere to work in. And the craft stuff is the most exciting, so that you have to almost earn it, right? It's a way of keeping myself motivated because I know the fun stuff is yet to come, and it keeps me kind of on track while still honoring my energy and the mood that I'm in. Because if you've done purging, I think it's not uncommon that you kind of have to be in the right mood, right? So picking those days where, yeah, I'm ready, and maybe I don't have a lot of time to go through like a full bin of Barbies, but I could do a drawer, and just being able to work within those margins. So that was my big thing today, is just catching myself in those behaviors and that kind of unconscious habit that would have kept me from doing the things that are going to move me towards the bigger dreams that I have, and not shaming myself for it. I just was like, oh, you're doing that thing again. Okay, let's get curious and let's get to the bottom of it, find out exactly why. And instead I'm here. I messaged my mom and said, you know what, I'm gonna stay home. I've got laundry going again. I did clothes and towels and stuff yesterday. I'm doing bedding today. So it's like one of those things where I'm kind of just staying home, getting a few things done that I'll feel really good about having done before the week starts, and working on the soul projects too, and just taking care of myself. So I'm going to leave it at that. If you've been avoiding something, give yourself grace. We do these things out of kind of survival, and just it's just how our brain works sometimes. But the more mindful and conscious we are around those things, when we start to pick up those patterns, the quicker we can pick up on them, and then correct it towards what's actually best for us, and not just running away from things, right? So, anywho, I hope everyone's having a good one and doing well out there. If you're having a difficult time, I'm sending you love, and I'll see you inside the next episode. Bye, everyone.